really deep position. And let's look at the rankings and when I finally say Starlin Castro's name. Jose Altuve, Gleyber Torres, Ozzy Albies, Ketel Marte, Jonathan Villar, Keston Hiura, Whit Merrifield, DJ LeMahieu, Max Muncy, Jeff McNeil, Mike Moustakas, Cavan Biggio, Eduardo Escobar, Gavin Lux, Brandon Lau, Ryan McMahon, Ruffin Odor, Kevin Newman, Tommy Edman, Colton Wong, Michael Chavis, Garrett Hampson, Luis Arias, Nick Madrigal, Cesar Hernandez, and at number 26, Starlin Castro. That's right. I'm looking at ESPN rankings. They've got Starlin Castro at 26. To me, second base is the deepest position in the fantasy world in 2020. Look, I could go in and get a Ryan McMahon. Here's the one I really like. The 13th ranked second baseman, Eduardo Escobar. Look what he did last year out in the desert. George, I agree. Castro should be higher, but can you imagine he's the 26th ranked? That's why we rank our own players, guys. He's not ranked number 26 on my board, I can tell you. How about Escobar, the 13th ranked on ESPN drafts, second baseman. He hit 269 last year. He hit 35 bombs, and he drove in 118. And he scored 94 runs. What's not to love about Eduardo Escobar? And he's ranked 13th among second basemen. We got a call coming in. Let's take this call. I believe this is from the great state of New York. Good morning, caller.
Do you know who this is?
I know exactly who it is. This is the Roto Lady. Good morning, Andre.
I'm the only girl that calls up the baseball shows.
Hey, you may be the only one, but you're the greatest one. So it's good to hear from you.
Thank you. I was going to talk about Scope for a minute.
Let's do it.
I just think that Jonathan Scope and C.J. Cron are two late-round picks that nobody likes. Maybe because they're on Detroit. I don't know. But, look at what Mancini did on Baltimore. And look what Josh Bell does in Pittsburgh. So, it's, I think that they get ignored because of Detroit.
I think you're right. And I look at these rankings, Andrea. Don't you see Scope hitting at least 25 this year for Detroit? I just do.
Well, we know he can hit 30. We know that because we've seen it.
And Cron is loaded with power. And the only problem I've seen with Cron is opportunity to play every day.
Cron is getting it because they want Miggy as their DH. So Cron is the first baseman of the season.
And I think he's going to put up killer numbers. And I think you're right. I think he's a hidden jewel that most people are just not looking at, and he's going unnoticed. And I think he's going to put up numbers similar. I think he can put up Matt Olson type numbers. I really do.
Well, whatever he puts up, think about where you have to draft him and what you're going to get out of him. So I've been using C.J. Cron. I mean, I'm sad that Mancini went out because I liked him too, but he wasn't going late like Cron. Why did I just bring Mancini up? I don't know.
But the theme of the show I'm doing this morning is value. Value. Okay. Where do you find value? And so Mancini, let's talk about that. Good point. Mancini with his surgery, I'm reading everything this morning out of Baltimore saying he's recovering well.
Great.
Going to be out of the hospital this week.
Him.
Yeah, going to be out of the hospital this week.
Yeah, but can you draft him though? I mean, I think Mancini might not fit perfectly because he was getting drafted rather high. So I don't, and now he's hurt. I just don't own him. I own him because of drafting him before he got hurt, but after I knew that he was not, I didn't know what was wrong with him, but I stopped drafting him immediately. I can't recommend people drafting him after the surgery.
What if he was available, let's say, in a 16th, 17th round?
Yes, I would probably. I don't know. See, I mean, you got to think about what you're giving up to take the risk, too. The 17th, 18th round, that's the difference between a decent catcher and a shitty catcher.
Good point. It's worthy of consideration, though, late in drafts, if you can grab a Trey Mancini, because if he does play, killer upside. I tell you what I did in the draft I had Sunday night, my last pick, and you're going to laugh at me. I picked Jonas Cespedes.
I don't see why not. This guy is only going to get paid if he comes to work, and if he does come to work, they're going to find a spot for him to play.
And so what does that do to them when we're drafting the McNeils and the J.D. Davises of the world higher in drafts? I think their value falls. And I think these dynamics are things we all have to look at when we're preparing for drafts and you're preparing your draft board. I was talking a minute ago, I guess you heard me. I mean, Starlin Castro being the 26th ranked second baseman currently on ESPN's draft board, to me, is the biggest joke.
Okay, what do you think? What are you expecting from Castro?
I'm expecting probably 90 RBIs out of him, at least, on a regular. Now, I know we've got a shortened season, so I'm extrapolating if we had a regular season. The kid drove in 86 last year in Miami, and now his manager's saying he's going to be in the 3-hole for the Nationals, hitting in front of Castro. Soto, excuse me, and behind Trey Turner. I love that opportunity for Castro. I
agree. I do agree with you, and we've seen him consistent over the seasons. I mean, he's not like super. That's why he goes so late, because he doesn't hit 30 homers. He doesn't do anything like extremely well. He's going to get a few stolen bases, but not a lot of stolen bases. You know, he's just. But the 80 RBIs, it's like Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer is going to get you close to 100 RBIs. So, he might not be fancy, but he gets the job done in the RBI department late in drafts.
And so I think first base is deeper. I think second base is deep. I love third base. I think your shortstops, I think there's a really good pool to begin with, and then I think it falls off fast. And in leagues where
At Tim Anderson? Does it fall off before him?
I think it falls off when you get to the Polanco pick from Minnesota or Tim Anderson, whichever one of those guys you may prefer one over the other. But after those two guys or Corey Seager, I think it falls off precipitously. I just think you can wait a little bit on shortstop, but you can't wait forever. But I think they're going to be gone.
Okay, Artie, I'm going to let you go so you can finish your show, but I wanted to say one thing. We have a draft. It's a mock draft at Fantrax at 11 a.m., and it's Douglas and Lenny and myself, and Malpal will be there, and hopefully George is in it too. But whatever, whoever's in it, there is a couple extra spots open, so I advise you, because Fantrax, you know how I hate to maintain my team after it starts. So the mock draft with Fantrax is that they actually keep track of the mock draft through the season. So you get to find out at the end of the season how well your team did. You actually get to find out how well your team did in the mock draft. So join us there. There's a link in the chat room, and Douglas and me and Lenny are going to do play-by-play of the draft, and we're going to have the different people from the draft on too, hopefully.
Sounds great.
Okay, dude. Have a great show.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Goodbye. That's the Roto Lady joining us live this morning, and you can do the same thing. You can call in. We'll talk about players that are of interest to you. At 11 o'clock today, there's a draft. It'll be posted in the chat room. Go on, log in. I've got a little bit of work to do, but I'm going to try to log in and hope I don't miss much. Okay, how about that? Just got a little bit of work to do around lunchtime today, but that'll be okay. We got another call coming in. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Artie. How you doing, pal?
Doing great. What's going on? Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is King Hap calling from the Throne in Boston.
King
How
Hap.
you doing, big man?
King Hap. Always good to hear from Boston's finest. And so how are things now without Brady in town?
I'm actually pretty upset about that. That was actually, how you like this? This is actually one of the reasons I was giving you a call today. I know that we were talking mostly baseball with your last guest, who was the very lovely Roto Lady. But I will tell you, what I'm hearing here now, today actually is the day that I know that we have a busy day on the network, but today we'll be recording the podcast, Happy Hour with King Hap, that will be simulcast later on in the week, and I do have my representatives from the Happy Hour Social Club calling from Las Vegas tonight. One of the things we're going to be discussing is that the Las Vegas Strip is closed, but the odds that are posted actually today had a transition at the top of the list, and the projected quarterback for the New England Patriots is actually now Deshaun Watson, the current starting quarterback for the Houston Texans.
Wow.
Now, this is something to come out of left field to me, and I've seen that, but I figured I would drop that off on your show here so people do know that there are some workings going on behind the scenes here, and a little inside tip from Mr. Ani here on Ani's Wild World of Sports.
Hey, King Hap.
They say Deshaun Watson scheduled.
Breaking here with King Hap. So, King Hap, you're going to talk about this tonight? Is that right? Is that what you're saying? You're going to talk about some more?
Well, yep, what I'm going to do is tonight on the podcast, it won't be simulcast till I believe Thursday. We'll have it on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Network. You can also listen to the Happy Hour with King Hap on Apple Podcasts, but we will be live tomorrow night. But our correspondent, Billy the Bandman from Vegas, will be calling in. He's one of the heads of our Las Vegas chapter of the Happy Hour Social Club, and we're going to go ahead. We're going to get this recorded. We're going to talk about Vegas shutting down, how all the places on the Strip are with this coronavirus, with obviously beer sales and all the tremendous volume that was going out has come to a screeching halt, and a lot of places are actually really losing a lot of business, like the bars and stuff. So we're going to have a little talk about that, but that'll be on Thursday night. But I wanted to call in and just touch base with you, and I appreciate you actually having me on the show. That's excellent.
Hey, King Hap, I'm the one who's appreciative. It's my privilege talking to you this morning. Thanks for calling. Let's do this more often, and let's listen to King Hap Thursday night here on the network, and let's find out more about this evolving story going on in New England with that quarterback. Deshaun Watson would be quite the land for the Patriots, no doubt about it. King Hap, have a great one.
That would be big, man.
Oh, man.
Do me a favor, though. Don't forget, tomorrow night, the VIP chat room, 7 o'clock, King Hap and Taco will be on. I want to see you in there, big man. I hope everyone's there so we can talk some business and get everyone's mind off the coronavirus and onto some sports. All right, big man? Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
Post that on the chat room. I'll talk about it some more. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Thank you, King Hap. It's good talking to you.
Take it.
7 o'clock tomorrow night. King Hap, Taco. We're going to have that posted in the chat room. Let's tune in. Let's support. Here's the deal, guys. During this time of the coronavirus, we're pulling together not only as sports fans, but we're pulling together as friends and as United States citizens, all on the same team. We got Red Sox fans. Of course, I'm a Yankee fan. We got Patriots fans. We got everything out there, but we're all on the same team. So let's support one another, not just during this time, but after this time is over. Let's continue the dialogue. Let's continue what we're doing. I'm looking forward to King Hap tomorrow night at 7. That's p.m. Eastern Time, and also Thursday night right here on the network. And King Hap, again, thanks for calling in. So more callers, you can call in. We'll talk. I'm going to post my number again. I love hearing from you guys. It makes the show a lot more interesting than you just hearing me ramble forever. We were talking about value picks in baseball. We'll get back to that some more. I think second base, again, a very deep position. And so I think you can wait. Why do I say wait? Because if you want to land that ace, you go get that ace pitcher early. Early. Don't wait. You can wait at some of these other positions. Now, here's the other question. In most leagues, don't you have 5 outfielders? And think about it. Only 3 outfielders can start on a team. So at most, you have 90 outfielders playing as starters. If you're in a 10 or 12 team league, and let's talk about a 10 team league, and you have to have 5 outfielders, well, 50 are gone right to start with, right? So my take is, as I draft strategize, I'm going to take that ace, I'm going to take that outfielder, I'm going to get those guys early in drafts. So let's talk about for a moment then, if we're going to do that, let's look at some value or potential value outfield picks. Again, I'm not going to talk about Trout, Acuna, Yelich, because those guys, we know they're flying off boards. So let's jump down to, say, looking at number 30 on down. Okay, can we do that? And I've already talked about number 31 on the list, Giancarlo Stanton. Let's talk about another player, I think, who's rising up on boards. How about Toronto outfielder Lourdes Gurriel? Gurriel is going to be the regular left fielder for the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that